So I want to talk to you guys today about winter camping in an RV, truck camper, van, anything like that, and what you're going to need to actually do it. Now, let's talk about tires. So these are 37-inch by 12.5 R18 Falcon Wild Peaks AT3s. So the main thing is they have a snowflake rating on them, which makes them an all-terrain, but it's also really good in winter. And most light truck tires, when you get to this size, that's the only thing you can find is an all-terrain with a snowflake rating would be your best bet. Now, I don't think anyone needs 37-inch tires to go do winter camping. You could probably get away with just some winter tires and on your stock vehicle and you'll be fine. Now, unless you're built different than the rest of us, you're going to need some form of a heater. And I'm going to show you that right now. This is the exhaust to my furnace in the camper. It is an 18,000 BTU furnace. And if I wanted to, I could upgrade it to a 20,000. And I'm just looking for one so I can do that. This furnace runs off of propane. How it works is it's not a catalytic propane heater. It has an actual exhaust. So it'll basically works, it has a heat exchanger in there. And basically it'll heat up the heat exchanger and then air blows over the heat exchanger, which gives you hot air coming out towards you. And so all of your exhaust and everything from the propane is exhausted outside. There's a myth that this adds moisture to the air in the camper, and that's just not true. What happens is I add moisture to the air from breathing, and that's where condensation comes from. If it's something like a buddy heater, if you had that in here, then you would have a lot of moisture coming into the air because it's exhausting inside. So we're back outside now, and the next part is going to be if you have two choices. You can either run water or you can choose not to run water. Either or is fine. Before I had this camper, I never ran water. I just took a jug of water with me and that was my water. And I had a little dishwashing thing and yeah, that was about it. If you're not going to run water, paper plates, stuff like that, disposables are your best friend. But if you are going to run water, then let me tell you how. This is what I call the dump station. This is where you dump all the bad stuff. Now, your biggest issue is going to be finding sandy dumps, but once you find one that's usually open, you're pretty good to go. My dump station stays at about between 16 degrees Celsius and 18 degrees Celsius, depending on how much the heater is running. I ended up plumbing heat right from the furnace right into this station because it is the farthest part. Your other issue is going to be propane and your hot water heater. I find with the hot water heater, if you heat it up and get it up to temperature before traveling, you can turn it off and you should be good for about 3 hours or so. You could probably go longer actually. You'll learn from experience how long it will go. They are insulated and they hold the heat very well. I think I went probably about 6 hours without having it on and it was fine. So I guess depending on how cold it is outside, but so far I haven't had an issue yet with it. Now with all these propane appliances I'm running, how much propane am I using? Well, let me tell you. So on average, if it's about minus 15 outside, I will go through a tank in 2 days. No more, no less, 2 days. I run two 20-pound tanks in here and I can get about 4 days off of them safely. There's usually a little bit left to get me by for another like maybe half a day, but usually I'll have it on that third day. I'm looking for some propane. Now in this camper, I have 3 different temperature sensors set up in here. And basically one is for the dump station. One is underneath in behind the counter where all the lines are. And the third one is by the front of the gray tank underneath inside the camper. There's a hatch there. And when I had it open, and I was resealing it, I'd put the sensor in there, and there's no way to get it out unless I remove the camper now. Now, you might be wondering, how does solar do in the winter? Well, out here it does not. It's at the wrong angle all the time, and I basically do not rely on it anymore. I have my battery bank is 200 amp hours. That'll run my furnace for about 4 days. And when I need to recharge, I either start the truck and use my DC to DC charger to charge it, or I run my generator. I don't like running the generator that often. It's noisy. And but if you want to do this, you might want to look into getting a generator. It's just the easiest way probably to do it. Or a really big DC to DC charger. Okay, it's cold. Let's go inside. Oh, jeez, it's cold. Oh. Just one sec, let me get out my coat here. Oh, okay. So last but not least, what have I done to help this camper out? Well, I added these fans here. One right there, and one down there. So what those fans do is they pull the air from inside the main cabin here, which is always warm, and they put it into the cold areas that don't get as much heat from the furnace. And so far that has actually like drastically changed everything. It's made it so those areas where I have those temperature sensors, they like have come up like by 10 degrees Celsius. It's really, really effective. So what do I have to say for anyone thinking about doing this? If you're the type of person that wants to have run water and everything, then I would definitely look for a camper that's known to be a 4-season camper. Like, this is technically not a 4-season camper. Northern Light did not say this was, but it did have everything to be basically like able to be a 4-season camper. They just didn't add the things, and that's what I did. This is a 1998, by the way. So when you're looking for a camper or anything like that, there's Bigfoot, Arctic Fox, Lance, and Northern Light. Those are the big names in 4-season campers. And then you have your they're not off-brand ones, but they're smaller companies that build campers like Kimbo. There's a few other ones, I think Alaskan Campers. Yeah, I can't name them really, but you'll be able to find them, and there's lots like that. But at the end of the day, if you're looking to just dry camp, which is run no water, you can probably grab any truck camper you see or any camper and be able to do it. You just need to have a sufficient heater to be able to handle this cold. Anything other than that, you're going to be, if you're, like, you don't want to go out here and knowingly have like a heater that doesn't work that well. You're going to have a really bad night. You probably won't die, but you're going to have a really bad night. So I think that covers just about everything. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Other than that, yeah, get out there and get camping in the winter. I realized I didn't say anything about like what temperatures I'm talking about really. So when I talk about like dry camping and with just any old camper, you can do it with even like a pop-up in like minus 15 Celsius, maybe even minus 20 Celsius. But I just had like a really bad cold snap here, and basically I'm dry camping right now. The furnace has been running just about non-stop. I actually ended up getting an electric heater, and I'm like parked out at a spot where I can plug in for the next few days. The temperatures at night are minus 40 degrees Celsius, sometimes even colder. And yeah, there's gonna be a video about it coming out. Let's just say everything I had failed, and it was a very, very cold morning. Now, I'm saying this as if you're looking to like head out into minus 20 degree weather, it can still be pretty serious, and I would recommend having 2 heat sources. Always let people know where you've gone to also. It can be very, very dangerous if you get into a situation like that and you're in the cold and for whatever reason no one knows where you are and no one's coming out there. In that situation, you'd be either walking to try to get to a main road to contact someone. I'm talking if you don't have service in the area. Usually, if you have service in the area, then you'll be okay, but just use your head when you're out there. I don't want anyone to die. So when I say getting a 4-season camper isn't like detrimental, it isn't. You can literally go out with like, I've seen people go out with like 1970s campers, and trust me, they don't have any insulation in them. They're basically just plywood shells from what I experienced, because my old one was like that. But we were out in minus 27 with that and we were fine. Our backup plan was we were staying at a ski resort anyways in their parking lot, so what we could do was just go get a hotel room if things didn't work out. This can get very, very serious. Yeah, I'll be sure to get that video out soon. You'll see why it can be very serious. And yeah, I have to admit it scared me a bit. It's not going to stop me from winter camping, but it's definitely made me rethink a lot of the things in here. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted and I'll tell you all about that next time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I wouldn't recommend anything beyond minus 20 unless you are living in the thing and you kind of have to. Just be safe out there. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.